100% more wormhole.
So was that really loud for you, or was it just me?
It was pretty loud, honestly.
Yeah, I need to re-level, do something with that.
Are we doing that again? Is that no? That was like that.
No,
was,
not doing it.
That was that was intense.
Yeah, I realized how deep my headphones were in my head when that came on. And you know, there will come a day when I have the opportunity to recreate that in person.
You're not
without the aid of AI. Hell yeah, I'll do it. Just give me a runway, my friend. I'll do it.
Okay, now in my imagination, like we're at a convention.
Yeah.
We're having a Captain's Pod convention for some reason. We're at Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little Captain's Pod breakout room.
Mm-hmm.
You walk out to 2 people.
Oh, worth it.
But you just like go off
Give
as cue.
it. Yeah.
It's recorded and it's not AI, but they superimpose a crowd so that at least it looks like.
Oh yeah, the 2 people that are there will know, but in all of the videos we've just like copy and pasted them 1,000 times.
Amazing.
It would be amazing. I'll do it. I'll eat shit as well. I'll just like fall down. It'd be amazing.
Do it now. You know what? Go on then, Ian.
I knew the words to the song. I would. It was like Little Yachty or something.
I don't know, but I think that you should Star Trek it.
Douche. Yeah, just replace it with some Star Trek.
Because really, it's just getting down, and then all of a sudden,
only go where no one has come before. Boom, boom, boom.
Exactly, like that.
Yep, like that.
And then I'll be the speakers, which are just blown out.
Yeah, just deafening. There will be death and death.
I thought you were saying definitely.
Definitely deafening. Whoa, wait.
It's deafeningly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It will definitely be deafeningly. Whatever. Regularly.
Hi, chat. It's good to see you guys.
Hello. He did send us some more of the intros, but with kind of re-leveled sound. I just haven't had time to upload them to StreamYard yet. So we may have some new ones next week.
Why are you kirking right now?
I do? Why am I what? Kirking? Yeah, I drift into Kirk sometimes. It gives my brain time to catch up. That's why he did it. It's because he couldn't remember his lines. So there's a ship coming.
We have a show for you today.
Yep.
Can I show you something that I found that is totally unrelated to what we're doing today?
Wearing my glasses. Yes, you may. Always.
Yeah. He has glasses and he has hats. Breaking news.
Oh, I thought this was the thing you were introducing. And I was like, wait, you're also describing me.
Oh, Little Miss Crumpet's iOS is back. Wait, Aya's back? Aya's back.
No, I think it's is back.
But I like saying
Are you Little Miss Crumpets?
I'm Little Miss Crumpets and Aya's back. Well,
nice.
I don't think, maybe Sean the last time was here, I was ill or something. But hi,
oh, yes, we did miss a week because you were, now
you're sick, yeah.
But I keep going.
That is something that we need to tell you about right here at the start. Today's live show will be filled with coughing. It will be removed from the edit, which is going to be a pain in the ass.
So much coughing.
So if you're really off-put by somebody hacking into your ear, it's going to be a rough one today.
It's going to be especially rough because look at this. That's my cup of tea.
There's no milk in that.
There's no milk in the house. So I'm drinking tea without milk.
I would say come over, but there's no milk here either. You'll have to stop at the store.
What? Why? How do you people not have milk in your house? You made me go full Italian hands. What is going on here? I need milk.
Listen, I have
Thank you, Aids.
I have a guest staying, and she's a milk drinker. So my milk consumption went from like normal to excessive. Actually, I don't even know if it's her fault, to be honest with you.
Yeah, nice to blame the guest.
I'm going to blame the guest.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to do.
That's fair.
Yeah, we're gonna be in sick bay today, 100%.
Yeah. Right. What are you showing us, Ambassador?
Oh, Instacarts and Brahms, man, that sounds good. Milk
I don't know
is
any
evil,
of the words you just said.
Yeah. You moved house last week. You have no fridge and no milk because of that. That makes sense. How is the move? Are you in that phase where you're like, I get a fresh, clean slate with which to put all of my items away. This is the chance to get organized.
Nope.
Or
everything
did you
gets
just
dumped in.
mass pack and then you're just like exploding everywhere? I'm kind of curious what your system is.
I think that's the only way to do it.
Because I'm lactose intolerant, Captain. God, fuck.
Yeah,
so just a reminder, this is an R-rated show.
Aaron's back. Aaron is back. Aaron is back from Vegas.
What was that?
That was a hiccup. That was a hiccup, but I've almost helped twice in
I thought I heard a voice. Hello? I do know the difference between a voice and a hiccup.
As I say, it was my voice talking just before the hiccup. But no, Aaron is back. He's back from Vegas. He had a successful time at the World Series of Poker, whatever it is, WSOP.
Bought my first house. No fridge.
Nice.
No washing machine. No wardrobes. Clothes are all over the floor in one of the bedrooms.
That's the one.
Can we just say congratulations? That's a huge first thing to do. Good job.
Woo!
Are you going to be thrifting? You got to go to thrift stores, right?
Your first command.
Get some change and then go to the thrift store.
That's the way to do it. Trade some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's going to be my animal story for the week is a stolen cow. I actually did immediately think like this is why people have like goats and stuff. Which speaking of goat, my story for the week is that thanks to your shameful you're shaming.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks to you, the chat, shaming me.
Uh-huh.
And thanks to an upcoming CinemaSin script where we actually sin somebody giving milk to a cat, I have really had to rethink my interaction with my neighbor's cat / my cat.
Mm-hmm.
Because he meows for milk. And Ian, you've been over when this happens. You can confirm.
I know he does. That doesn't mean you do it. Like, kids ask for a lot of shit. It doesn't mean you give it to them.
Well, anyway. So I have now started purchasing goat milk for the cat.
Yeah. Special goat milk. Because I won't drink it.
I'm not going to stop feeding this cat and making him feel like the king that he is. Maybe he's a prince right now and he's like becoming king cat of the neighborhood. I don't know. I want to support his journey. So I bought fucking goat's milk. It's expensive, though.
Yeah, it is. And it's just for the cat. No one else is going to be consuming that.
It's true. Eon.
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 It's just my name now.
Thank you. The bonus of owning a house is I have a bedroom just to spread all my crap all over the floor. We call them charity shops, but you can thrift. There you go. Go to some shops. I think it's great. My first place that I lived outside of my mom and dad's house, I had a room that was 6 foot by 5 foot. It was a little closet. It was a 6 foot by 3 foot. It actually was in an old house, no, by 5 foot. It was in an old house, and they had taken this 3-story home and did have a super scary basement, but nobody was down there. And they had chopped it up into a lot of like little miniature apartments. And the part that I lived in, somebody else lived there. It was her house. And she's like, if you want to live here, you can. But the only room that I have is the porch that they had converted into a room. So it was all windows. So I had to cover everything up. And then the only things I could fit inside there was a futon, not even folded out, just a futon, just a couch. And then a spare set of drawers that somebody gave to me. And then I just crawled over my stuff to the futon to sleep, crawled out of the space, and then it was insane. It was like living, it was like living in a closet because it was living in a closet.
That's like 1.8 meters by 1.4 meters, roughly. That's very, for the imperialists among us. That is very, or the metrics, the metrons among us.
I actually did try to give the cat tuna. He stopped eating it. He doesn't want it anymore.
He started vomiting it and then stopped eating it.
I don't know if they were related or not. Let's go back to these. You guys can ask questions and about cats and home living and stuff. But seriously, congratulations, Sean, because your first step out, like to claim and own something, is really powerful. I didn't actually own that house, by the way. That was just that sparked a story.
1.8 meter space.
So a long time ago, I was given this set of cards called sneaky cards. Play it forward.
Yeah.
I just came across them again. And so the whole idea is that you take these cards, which I have taken out. And it's kind of I think they're cool. You go to the website and you register your deck.
Okay.
Okay. And then your deck has a specific number that you enter in.
Okay.
And then there's different types of cards. There's connect cards, engage cards, surprise cards, care cards, grow cards, and create cards. Pick a category and I'll give you an example.
Engage, of course.
Of course. I should have seen that coming. Okay. So these are all the engage cards. This is what they say.
Okay.
Make a speech. Go ahead.
Make a speech in an elevator with more... God damn it. That speech would not go well. Make a speech in an elevator with 3 people you don't know.
So then when you do it, you give this to the last person on the elevator with you, and then they hopefully go track the card.
That's some boldness.
I know. Here's the next one. This is the engage category.
Start the wave in a food court or cafeteria. When you do, give this card to the Oh, okay. Yeah. Lie down in a public space until someone checks on you. When they do. Oh, that's amazing. Play a board game with a stranger. Bring a board game to a popular cafe. Give this card to the first person who plays with you. That's incredible. I would do this if somebody approached me. Get this card signed by a celebrity. That's fine, Danae. Just sign it. During conversation, whenever you would say the word now, instead say meow. If you manage to say meow to the same person at least 5 times during a single conversation, give them this card. Go on meow, give it a try. That's amazing. I love this.
Sci-fi brony. That's amazing.
Take a selfie with a total stranger. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's terrifying. I imagine I might get shot if I did that around here. Play the world's largest game of tag. Tag someone on the shoulder and tell them they are it. Then hand them this card.
No tag backs.
That's a terrible idea. That's terrible. That's going to get you punched.
Oh, this one is one of my favorites.
Defeat someone in a duel. Challenge somebody to a contest. Arm wrestling, rock, paper, scissors, etc. That's amazing.
If you're victorious. You get
Only if you're victorious.
If you're defeated.
So you have to keep doing this until you win. That's amazing. How do you win? I guess it couldn't be with knives or something. It would have to be something with a definitive winner.
The first time I went to New York City, I laid down on my back to take a picture of a skyscraper. I literally had people just stepping over me.
Oh, are you kidding? In New York, of course. Yeah, they see that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So the other ones are things like surprise, hide this card somewhere it can be found easily. So there's like things that are kind of in that category. Care is like holding the door open for people. Let's see. Grow, learn to say the following phrase in a foreign language.
Klingon.
Create, invent a new handshake. There's a whole bunch. Connect, give this card to your doppelganger. So the idea is that some of them are really hard.
Oh,
and you want to get rid of the whole deck.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
Sometimes you say, give this card to the first person to say your secret code word. And you have to write down the code word. And then whenever someone says it, then you're like, oh, here, and you can give it away.
Oh, so you just got to have that locked in your brain.
So
banana strudel.
Some of them have you like writing stuff down before. Like this one would be very difficult. This is one I don't think I would get rid of ever. Give this card to someone who shares your middle name. Well, my middle name is Danae.
Mine,
but it's very rarely spelled like I spell it.
Yeah.
So I would probably hold on to this one for quite some time.
I would give my card to my dad.
There you go. Give this card to someone born on the date that's written below, and you have to write the date.
That's amazing.
You can like pick one. Anyway, I think this would be fun to do at a convention because there's so many people.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
But Anyway, I thought I would share that with you guys. I thought it was kind of a cool.
I love
and
that.
I totally
I
forgot about it. I think I've had this for probably like a decade now because I think I got it as a stocking stuffer a long, long time ago. But yeah, so maybe it's through the company Gamewright, and they've got several games. They did Gubs. Gamewright did Gubs. Gamewright did a game that Iris and I are playing called Sleeping Queens. That's really fun. So it's a pretty clever company. Yeah. They have like interesting games. So
would you like to share with the audience how your daughter now makes a face that you cannot resist?
Sure. Yeah, you were there for the you have a video. Should we share that video?
Yeah.
I guess the live show is going to become like a day in the life of Danae because I don't have people like videoing my moments. But now when like
now that Ian's here, you do. Like, I get this stuff.
Well, I think the only thing that is really interesting, at least in my opinion, that's interesting about this is that Iris, who is just now 7, has never really tried to make a face, like a funny face. And that's what was getting me. That's why I lost it. So, Danae is Scottish for don't do it.
It is. Didn't do it.
Honestly, that should be like just like my tagline. Just don't do it.
Didn't they do it?
I think people would play along too. Just now seeing. Oh yes, you saw this. Okay.
You see, you would like it. Danae Space Nine. Danae Space Nine would work.
So
she was giving me shit about Deep Space Nine.
We went to eat. Iris was promised a cool day at the aquarium. Ian was invited along. Obviously, when you're visiting, like you're gonna do stuff.
Yeah.
And the aquarium is the.
It's a good one.
It's like the #1 aquarium in the entire country, and it happens to be in my neighborhood. So it's like, okay, let's go. So we go to breakfast first. And Iris starts to make a funny face, and it cracked me up more than I've laughed in.
You were dying.
Years. You were
dying
for like 5 minutes, and what was fun about it is, I think the childlike earnest. She was so earnest to make me laugh.
Yeah.
And so she would make
so pleased with herself.
She'd like tuck her upper lip underneath her teeth. Or like above her teeth and under her gums, and then like stick her top teeth out. But that's not really what it was. It was like her insistence at it, like her serious eyes. Like she'd be like smiling with her eyes, and then all of a sudden it would just click over to this really serious face that she was making. And she was trying to find all these ways to keep me laughing because she was very proud of herself for making me laugh so hard. So like she went behind Ian's head and then just sort of creeped out from the side and then gave me the face. And it just, once I started giggling, I kind of couldn't stop. I was trying to. I was in tears, and I don't say this lightly. I don't usually watch people laugh to the point that they're literally crying. That's not normal. Yeah. I don't see that regularly. I've seen it in movies, and I think that's bullshit. Now I know it's real.
No, you were crying. Your eyes were streaming.
I went to the restroom afterwards just to compose myself. And I realized as I was walking through the restaurant, people are looking at me as if something like terrible had just happened. You were a mess. Because I had like just literally just pouring tears. It was amazing. I don't think that'll ever happen again either, because now that it's done, it like there's never going to be that moment again.
So it was the novelty of, she's doing this. Like, if anybody's seen the SNL sketch recently with Beavis, the live action Beavis and Butthead,
someone's at the front door.
The guy that's doing the live action version of, I think, Beavis, whichever one has brown hair, he has like his gums exposed. It was that face. Like it was really funny.
I know I have a picture I can pull up if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it. The video is currently uploading if we wanna share that video.
Because I think I need to, maybe we can share the video after the show is over. I wanna.
It's nearly uploaded.
I'm glad you shared that, because I don't have a place to kind of share all of my stories.
It was so great.
I need to start my own podcast. Okay. All right, here it is. This is the share my screen. Let's take a look here. Is this the right one?
Dogs are going crazy upstairs. Yeah, they're going nuts. So,
is this the? There you go.
That's the face.
I mean,
just look at that. Look at the eyes. The eyes are so big.
Yeah, and she was like popping out from behind Ian's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She'd stand behind me and then...
And then she'd come up to me and she'd be like, I need to fix the thingy. She'd come up to me and she'd just get right in my face and she'd just go smiling, and then all of a sudden she'd just flip over. I couldn't handle it. It was amazing. Hi, it's Friday.
Hi, Phil.
I have a friend who I can make laugh until he cries. I make it my mission to do that once in a while.
That's amazing.
Once every time we hang out. Oh my God.
It's beautiful.
I love making people laugh. And kind of like the other thing I really love about sharing the story today is that she also is learning to like to make me laugh. It's becoming something that she's having a fun time doing.
Yeah.
Which is really, and she has a really funny sense of humor, for me at least. So I don't know.
Would you like the video?
Danae's podcast would be hours of her crazy animal bullshit. It could be.
There would be no end of supply.
Would you listen? I have the name of my podcast ready to go. I have it ready. Would you?
You sure do.
I have at least 10 listeners, at least some, and I know Slab would subscribe because Slab was one of my first supporters when I tried to launch like 3 years ago.
Oh, Slab's the best.
While you show the video, I should stay for it.
Well,
the
cat
is meowing, so I've
okay.
Here's
the video. Here's right there.
No, none of them hitting.
I'm a laugh monster.
I've got to stop looking at you. It's so
hilarious.
I've never, ever. Don't let it be funny. Oh my God.
I can't help you.
You're gonna have to just pick her up and take her away. You're hurting so bad. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like,
it was amazing.
I lost it. I look at that.
All structure integrity went.
Thank you for capturing that moment, because I genuinely don't think I have laughed that deeply. Maybe
that's why I videoed it, because
it's been
there was like 2 minutes before that where you were like, I'm in pain, my spleen is hurting, and I'm like, oh, she's really gone, I got to get the tail end of this. And it just kept going,
and it was the
I've never seen you laugh that much.
We literally had already been laughing for 5 minutes at that point.
Yeah. It was like, because Iris started on my side of the table and was throwing that face at Danae, and when she saw it break her, she went around the table to go like for a point blank shot at the same like I gotta get closer, it'll be funnier if I get closer.
Yeah, she was amazing. She was like a little assassin.
She was ready to go to the next table
and
make everyone else laugh. I was like, nope, might not work on other people.
They were kind of looking, and she was like she was getting loaded up. Yeah. I also
amazing.
Like, I think with her friends, she'll do like the bonking over her head thing, and they'll like laugh. And she started to smack her head right at the beginning. It's like, nope, I don't laugh at that.
No,
and then she just honed right in. The question about the ketchup, what a funny thing to note. I also recognized that it was like a highly specific
premium tomatoes.
Premium tomatoes.
Premium.
So she did.
Well, do you want to sort the cat out?
I do want to sort the cat out, so I'll be right back.
Get ready. Yeah. Get it. Goodbye. What else have I got to show you all? There we go. I'll just throw one of these.
I haven't figured out what keeps them alive yet.
Amazing. Show her little green men. She'll really be smacking her head for a laugh. Yeah, is that the one where it's like, we actually did that on the show, didn't we? That was a few weeks ago. Hello, Commander Smith. You have been gone for a while. I don't think you've missed anything. You missed the entirety of Season 5 Deep Space... Wait, that was weird. The entirety of Discovery Season 5, which we dinged, and now we're doing Deep Space Nine, pulled out from Danae's imagination. How much longer are you staying in the liberated colonies, Ian? I'm here until June 24th. Yeah, and then I fly back, and then I'll actually be in England all the way through till November. I don't think I'll be coming back to the States until kind of Thanksgiving time. So yeah, that's my travel plans. So, wait, I didn't select that. Oh, that was pretty weird. Like, I didn't pick that up. I don't have a copy of Lord of the Rings upon my person. That's back in England, unfortunately.
I have a couple here you can borrow if you want one. Just kidding.
You
can't
do.
Borrow my books.
I can't borrow them. No.
No.
I do have 10 Star Trek books that I bought for $4 from a thrift store, because I was moaning at like another stall that had like the Star Trek books. They were like $10 each.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing? We find another stall and it has stacks of Star Trek books, and they were like 50 cents, $1, 25 cents. I was like, let's go.
Every once in a while, if you ever go thrift store or it's like there's a difference between a thrift store and an antique mall.
Yes, correct. Yeah,
we were at this antique mall,
yeah,
and there's all these stalls, right? And sometimes you can tell that the person hasn't been there for a really long time. This one, I don't think had been manned for like 20 years.
Yeah,
and so all the prices. It's the kind of place that you're going to find a sterling silver ring for $4.
Yeah,
because they don't realize that it's now probably worth more like 20. So yeah, he left that one with stacks and stacks of books.
I sure did. And I actually do have both of the ships from this episode, which is annoying because they're back home. They're not in America.
You do.
Yeah, you do.
You need to bring some ships with you sometime, although that's a terrible idea. They might get really
they're going to get broken. I have ordered 2 ships that are going to be delivered here at some point.
It's also bad because Iris would want to play with them as toys if you brought them here.
I think I'm okay with that as long as I'm with her while it happens. It wouldn't be unattended playtime. It would be we play together.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure that we go on record as saying that when it breaks, it's not something I have to replace.
No, you don't have to replace it, but it will be a lesson learned. It will be an important lesson.
For you to never give
Danae.
a 7-year-old.
No!
What do you mean?
Wait,
I'm
not
telling
Danae,
you
but
not
Iris.
to.
Iris, no. You're the same. You're interchangeable in my head.
We're not. Baby Slab has been interested in CDs this week, so I've been hitting up Goodwill trying to find music for her. Their CD collections are mostly Christian and Christmas music, but I did pick up 2 polka CDs for myself.
Nice.
Oh, shit.
Polka.
That's so interesting because I was thinking about this recently. I think it was just yesterday when I was driving Iris around, that when I was her age, probably like a little bit older, I had a Sony like Discman.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had like the little headphones that didn't even cover your ears or go in your ears. They were just like a really crazy speaker with a little bit of mesh on the outside and like a really thin strip of metal. And then I had a CD player, and that was my entertainment. You know, she wants to play these app games and stuff. And I'm like,
yeah,
I would just sit in the back of the car and listen to the same CD
but apps
over and
available.
over and over again.
Like, if apps are available, that's what we would want to do.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I just had the same, like, kind of, because I had, like, the Walkman that you put the cassettes into, and just wore that Venga Boys cassette out.
I'm just saying, what if I'd let her have my old one and let her like choose some CDs? So I love that you're talking about this, Lab, because I'm genuinely going, I think it'd be interesting to see, like, pop in the Moana soundtrack or pop in, you get an actual CD. I think it could be fun.
Something that she can control. I mean, that might be a good thing to do for the road trips in England to get her that so she has some control over what she's listening to in her head.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
She's about to ride down to Orlando for Slab Junior's tournament.
There we go.
Hours. Yeah, so she needs something to listen to. That's what I was thinking. Like, because you can plug them into a phone or an iPad and then, put on the big old can headphones. But there's something that's interesting about giving her old tech and teaching her how to use it. I actually handed her an old tech recently, and she tried to use it as a touchscreen, and I was thinking that was really delightful.
That's amazing. I love that. That's amazing.
Oh, my God. Those are expensive, by the way, getting a VHS player. Have you tried to do that just for fun?
What, buy one?
Yeah.
Or unwind one?
No, like a VHS player, not the tape. But
I still have one. I still have a VHS player.
You do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we be friends so I can borrow it?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
That was such a journey. Shit.
You got me.
I got you. All right. Okay. Do the disclaimers, Danae, and we can get into a show.
We are broadcasting on multiple platforms at once. And so where you are, the people that are going to be hanging out with you during the show, if you're on YouTube, you're going to be at the CinemaSins Podcast Network site. Thank you for being with us. You can click on live chat so that it's not top chat. And sometimes that means you'll see other people's comments. Although I don't really know if that's necessary until we have so many viewers on YouTube that you just can't keep up. But anyways. Right. You tell me to say that, so I'm saying that. We're also live on YouTube. Or sorry, I said that one already. On Twitter /X on our Captain's Pod platform over there. So sometimes people will pop in, and we appreciate you guys watching there. And also on Twitch. We're on 2 different places on Twitch. My personal channel, Danae Says, and obviously the CinemaSins live channel, where you can catch other shows from CinemaSins, and from time to time the people who write for CinemaSins pop in and play games. Although that has become very difficult given our release schedule these days. But we really appreciate you guys being here and supporting our show. One of the best ways you can support the show is to share it with your friends or on forums, or recommend it to somebody on a forum, because people don't know that we're here until they know that we're here. And also you can leave reviews of our podcast if you would choose to do so. And that's about it. Oh, this is an R-rated show.
I can smell burning. I hope it's the tumble dryer.
You should check.
Nah, I'll be fine.
Cool.
The table's not getting warm yet, so I have some time.
This is like the start of a bad Grey's Anatomy episode. Like,
I can smell burning.
Yeah, you're either having some sort of like a
seizure,
medical problem, or is my dog licking his junk back there?
Also,
Reese's, you were live.
Yeah, dude.
Reese's, you were live.
Going to town. It's like the start of the Orville. I actually do have. I have 2 Game Boy Colors and a Game Boy Advance and a Game Boy SP. I think she would really enjoy some games on a Game Boy.
Did you spill the tea on the console?
Shit. Thank you for giving me an out for that outtake. That was great. Let's do it. Let's fucking go. Are we ready? Yeah, this happens semi-regularly. I smell burning of some sort.
I'm always ready.
Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show. No, we're going to Quarks, aren't we? We're going to go to Quarks.
I don't know. I don't know anything about
this. To the Promenade.
I don't even know how I got on this show, honestly.
It's fair. Welcome to the Promenade, the part of the show where we grab a drink from the replicator.
Promenade!
The Replomat, and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we just watched together. Most important question first: what is your beverage of choice, or something from Quark's Bar?
I would just like one massive air molecule today. Just one.
1,000 times bigger than you can take in.
Yeah. I want it, but not in my space, because obviously I don't want to die. I'm not ready for that yet, but I just want it. You know, I can store it somewhere just in case.
Just an emergency one. Just like get a straw. I don't know if the science behind that holds up, but I'd like to think it would. I would like a 4-way shunt is what I would like, because I can probably make that out of all of like the extractor tubing that they made for this set, but I would like one of those.
Yeah, after watching today's episode, did you want to create your own?
I feel like I could build that entire set.
Yeah, we can.
Which I kind of love.
We could. We should.
I want those huge isolinear shits. I was about to... It's nothing like a good isolinear shit.
What
happens if you drink too much Ractogino?
Mine always happens after Thai food.
That's fair. Okay, Ambassador, give us a synopsis for this. The poetry that is this episode.
Oh, wow. So in today's episode, we have a textbook shenanigans happening where our crew has been captured, and through the clever art of deception and creating interpersonal drama, we succeed. But this time with a little help from a tiny little ship.
Little bitty ship.
Which is absolutely the highlight of the episode. I can't
Steals the
imagine
show.
how delightful it would be to watch this episode for the first time as it came out. A little ship just zipping around space.
Zoom.
Yeah, I don't think that they're... we also learned some information that might have been important to anybody who watches this season, which is that the bad guys have new bad guys and are also obsessed with glue.
Yes.
Chalk.
Ketracel white, but it looks like PVA glue. Yeah.
That could be important to somebody.
It is important in the context of Deep Space Nine. Yeah.
There was no Guinan. There was no 10. There was no 10 forward.
That's a good place to start. How did this fit into your saw in your? It didn't.
No.
What do you mean it didn't?
No.
The swatting.
No.
You saw the swatting of the ship and the POV of the bug.
No. That part did look.
And a
really
wormhole?
familiar. Yeah, that was it.
And
there
the anomaly?
A wormhole. There was an
No,
anomaly.
but the anomaly, the nebula that they saw was like, yeah.
Yeah. I think it fits in.
Great.
I was thinking, I was kind of trying to be a but no, I think this actually went really well.
Thank you. Good.
Yeah. This was a fun one, I think, because like at the beginning of this episode, it starts off by saying we're taking a break from the war to do this one-off little mission.
It's kind of like looking at the camera saying, "This is a throwaway bottle episode. Don't worry about it. This is why we aren't knee deep in like Dominion War at the minute. We're taking a break. It's okay."
And I think that's why I like it, because it does give me enough context clues that there's some other really serious stuff going on in this show. Yeah. So if I was to say, hey, a friend of yours wants to watch some random episode from Deep Space Nine, this could be a great one to introduce them to, because not only does it have, little adventure to follow and do some quirky stuff, shrinking down and things like that, but also it kind of gives you these hints about the greater enemy and leads to potentially some more interesting stuff. And it ends with an understanding that there's more people on this show than just 4.
Yeah, you're right. It's actually a pretty solid introduction to like to Deep Space Nine without getting too deep into the Dominion War arc, because in season 6 we are deep into this season-long kind of war with the Dominion and all this upheaval and stuff. So it's kind of clever that it manages to be a bottle episode while also having some integral stuff in it, because this is the introduction of the Alpha Jem'Hadar, who are the new breed that have been specifically raised in the Alpha Quadrant to fight in this war, rather than going to the Gamma Quadrant, breeding them there and getting them through the wormhole, because Deep Space Nine, funnily enough, keeps blockading the wormhole.
Why wouldn't
and stopping the troops from coming in. So these Jem'Hadar are bred in the Alpha Quadrant with some subtle differences. So there's some really important bombshells that come up in this episode. It's not just a throwaway, have some fun with Honey, I Shrunk the Shuttlecraft.
It also, it feels like it's introducing a reason as to why this new breeding is going to lead to their downfall, because they don't think like the OG bad guys. You've got this interesting fight between the alphas and the gammas, and the elder and the first is kind of like these two characters. And in this episode, the elder is 100% right at every single turn and ends up dying, and his great end to his life is knowing that he was right but not getting any props for it. And so I think that's a clever way for Deep Space Nine to introduce a reason why this formidable foe is suddenly have a crack in their foundation. And they do that through them taking over the ship, and then also to this like fun beat of, all right, how are we going to take this back over? And the big one for this is that they need to, the little ship has to get into a little place to plug some stuff in so that the codes are rerouted because Nog isn't going to get there in time. And
basically, yeah.
I don't understand why that works. But watching them huff and puff their way through a teeny tiny landscape inside of something was really funny. I really enjoyed that particular scene.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I didn't mind it.
There's so much that I love about this episode and that we should talk about. Before we get into all of the shrinking stuff, I don't know if it'll be super helpful, but it's nice to share it while we're on the topic. The Jem'Hadar are, like, the ones in the Gamma Quadrant are like specifically bred to be obedient puppies that fight people. They're addicted to Ketracel White, which is that liquid stuff.
What does it do?
So it basically keeps them alive. I think they eventually find out that
good reason to be addicted to something.
Well, I think they eventually find out that they can live without it. So it's a drug that's given to the Jem'Hadar to make them subservient and keep them. Ooh. Like, hey, you got to follow your orders or else you won't get your supply of Ketracel White.
Oh, is that from the guy that was on screen at the beginning?
The Vorta. Exactly. Yeah.
The Hua?
The Vorta. The Vorta. Yeah.
And for those of us who speak American English, is that VORTA or
correct?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Vorta.
Vorta.
The Vorta.
So you're saying water.
Water, yeah. the
Vorta.
Oh no, the Vorta. So yeah, the Vorta work for the founders, who are a bunch of changelings, and they made the Jem'Hadar to be their subservient slaves that go off and do all of the fighting. They also only live, I think it's like 6 to 10 years. Like, they have a tiny lifespan.
Oh, that's so sad.
Which is why he's being retired, because he's getting old.
Because he's 3.
Because he's like 3 and he's getting on a bit in years.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they come out of their shell, they mature really quickly, and then they die after like 6 to 7 years.
So this is essentially just an army for someone else.
Literally just an army from the Dominion. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
they're foot soldiers.
It sparks some curiosities for me about the world at large that maybe you'll know. So is it that they were already an alien species that liked to dominate, take over a planet and keep kind of like slowly taking over as they expand? Or is it that somebody found them and realized that they were good warriors and then got them addicted to this drug and then started using them?
No, as far from what I can remember, they were literally genetically engineered from the ground up to be this race of soldiers for them. So the Dominion like kind of dominant in the Gamma Quadrant, and when the wormhole links the Alpha Quadrant to the Gamma Quadrant, we start trading and interacting with people in the Gamma Quadrant, and they're like, oh hey, be careful of the Dominion. And the Dominion eventually are like, oh hey, we're going to come through this wormhole and dominate your quadrant as well. And the Jem'Hadar are their soldiers that they bred.
So the Dominion isn't just the species.
No, the Dominion is
like
alliance.
a group of people.
Exactly. Okay, the Dominion are the founders, which is Odo's people, the changelings. But Odo doesn't know that to begin with. So there's a race of changelings that are basically viewed as gods. And then the Vorta work for them. And I think the Vorta are genetically engineered as well, but they're more intelligent.
Okay.
And then the Jem'Hadar are just the grunt work that go.
Wow.
And collectively, they're the Dominion.
Who wouldn't think that a changeling would be a god? If I met a changeling that could just, shift in front of me, that would be pretty...
And to the Vorta, they quite literally are, because the changelings created the Vorta. So if your creator isn't your god, I don't know kind of like what else would be.
Okay. I think I'm following all right now.
Yeah.
But that's a good sign of this episode, that I didn't really need to understand all of that to pick up on the nuance. Like, you saw that the lizard people were reporting to the guy with the Google,
with the Google lens. Yes, it is. It is a Google lens.
It is. Star Trek inspired Google. Let it
when
be
Star
known.
Trek abandoned it just as quickly as Google did as well.
They did, yeah. Okay, cool.
So yeah, that's just like a little backstory about the Jem'Hadar. But I think this episode does a great job of kind of it gives you plenty of context. It gives you enough of what you need to get through this episode, I think.
And at the very end, they give you the shot of back on the space station that I've seen before. Like again, which kind of draws you back into the greater world, because this episode has very few characters in it.
Yeah.
You know, it's really small, but it does have some really fun prosthetic work. Like I was super excited about that part.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me what you loved. What tweaked you?
I loved it. They have these interesting like head pieces, and the blending was really nice. And I know that we have to have like, you know, 2 eyes and a mouth, because that's just where we're humans.
That's how we work.
Humans acting.
It's a human
as aliens.
TV show. Yeah.
But I thought that they looked really unique, and each one sort of had different ridges. There was one person that sort of started talking about an idea he had, and he was like given.
Oh, it has different colored spikes.
Yeah, almost just like a different pattern. And but I also love that we were able to continue to see them express, not only with just like their mouths, but you could see that their eyes were able to open up, you know, wide. When they lifted, the actor would lift their eyebrows. The prosthetic moved really, really well. And they had this kind of like thing that went into their neck. Was that the drug?
That's the Ketracel white being pumped into their body. Yeah, it's
dark.
in there. It's so dark. It's like you just rip that thing off and they go into a panic, like Worf often does. Or Worf would just snap a guy's neck.
Yeah,
you didn't see that in TNG too much. No. Worf is snapping necks everywhere in Deep Space Nine.
Does he really?
Love it. All the time, all the damn time. And in First Contact, he's just snapping Borg necks everywhere.
Man. I mean, good for you. I guess if you have that kind of physical strength, you just use your physical strength. I would be Kira, just shooting shit, I guess.
Heck yeah. I this is one of the biggest highlights from this era of Star Trek for me, is the prosthetics and how much expression you get out of the masks, out of every alien that you see, more so than kind of any show that I see nowadays. No, I'm so old. But it's just how expressive everyone manages to be. And that's just a testament to the prosthetic work and the actors that get behind it. The fun thing about these Jem'Hadar is that the Gamma one has a different facial structure than the Alpha one. So he has like this bony kind of strip that goes along his head, and the Alpha Quadrant ones don't have that. They've been modified to look a bit different. So it makes it easier for us to understand who is who as well, and who's going to have these different characteristics. So it's really clever.
Yeah, I thought it was great, and I was really, really invested in like watching it. Their uniforms, because you know, it's not a surprise given if you're listening to this podcast as we watch these shows. The newer shows coming off of Discovery and then watching this one, there's so much more detail that we have. There's so much more CGI that we have. And so again, just like anytime we switch into a different, you know, outlet for Star Trek, in these different eras, there's going to be differences in what they're showing. So the costuming is simplified in a way, like it's not as regal looking, and it stands out so much in juxtaposition to last week's episode. And
do you mean like the Starfleet uniforms?
Starfleet uniforms just lack a little bit of that pizzazz, or that I don't know.
Well,
I don't want to say pride in itself, but it's just like, we just need a uniform, so they're just wearing a uniform.
Well, what's interesting about this uniform is that it's deliberately toned down because they're at war. So they don't.
Yeah. Okay.
They haven't deliberately said this in the show, but like I can't remember where I read this, but collectively it's kind of understood that they went for these muted tones and the purple to blend in more on the battlefield.
That makes
sense.
So
when they're on away missions and stuff, they're not just this bright red and blue target. It's like, come and get me, red shirts. So yeah, but you're right. It's very jarring compared to Discovery, which is like primary colors everywhere.
Well, and it's not just the coloring. It's so like on Discovery, even like the away mission or something, they're texturing differently in their costuming now, where it might be an undershirt and then it might be like a leather bit, but it's also mixed with another textile that gives it some dimension, so that when the light hits it, your eye is seeing that maybe it's a muted color, but there's dimension. And all of a sudden it's just a wool shirt
Yeah.
You know? And so my eye isn't looking at that anymore. My eye is going, okay, well, what else am I meant to appreciate about this space? Like what was the show bragging about? And I think the show is bragging about their sets of
100%.
all of these panels that have all these interesting buttons on them.
How fun was that? How fun was like everything from going through the exhaust vent where the impulse engines were firing up, then through actually just flying through the ship and then into the control panel with the isolinear chips everywhere. Yeah. Was that fun? Were you rolling your eyes a bit because it's quite clearly a set, or were you just like on board for it and enjoying the novelty?
Well, it's kind of like two parts because so when Cisco is talking, there a lot of the episode was in the warp core room, the
engineering.
And so I'm not looking at their costuming, and once I had like unfocused from all the prosthetics, it was a really cool set. Just that set itself, not even so. Like it's a kind of a two-part question. I did enjoy the shuttle stuff, and I want to get to that because it was such an intricate part of this episode. That is, you
got to get that right.
Yeah, the main character of the episode. This episode is the tiny little shuttle.
Yes,
we have to talk about it. But the set of the engine room and engineering, that's I feel like what the creators of this episode or maybe this particular show or the Defiant itself we're really, really proud of. I mean, obviously we've got acting going on and we've got, dialogue that people are writing, and those are important parts too. But the set, there was this interesting moment where like there's so much going on in this one space. You've got bad guys at panels booping buttons, and you've got good guys that are walking around with their own independent missions. Each person's doing something different. And then you have the shuttle that's looking in on it, and you're still trying to figure out where you are in the room. And they did a really good job, I feel, of giving us
geography of where everyone is and what they're doing. Yeah.
There's this one particular moment though when Cisco is scanning almost like a cylinder style device that it kind of slid out of the wall.
Yeah.
And it had all of these strips of color on like a clear like chips or something. It wasn't like the isolinear chips that I'm used to seeing on TNG, but
yeah.
And I just sort of like honed in on it because that's the stuff I feel like the show wants to get excited about, is that their props department made some badass stuff to play with. And we got to see it. There was kits. There was all this. They're pulling out these different devices, like while they're fixing things.
Is landing next to these cool little gadgets as well. Like I just want to play. I want to play in engineering, just like boop, 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 like with my sticks that have got flashing lights. And this all feels so very Star Trek. And like the Defiant was introduced because it was introduced in like season 4 or 5, somewhere around there, because they needed to be mobile. They needed to get people off of Deep Space Nine to like kind of add some variety. But there wasn't a lot of Starfleet in Deep Space Nine, and the Defiant is like a breath of fresh air. It's like, this feels like Voyager. This feels like the Enterprise. Like this feels like a set that I'm comfortable really with, just a smaller version of it.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the Defiant is small, right?
So the Defiant is actually bigger than you think. It's not like Voyager size, but it's bigger than, it's like obviously a lot bigger than a runabout. It's bigger than a shuttle. I'm trying to think of a size. It's probably the size of the original series Enterprise saucer section.
Okay.
It's probably the comparison. So
I don't know.
It's a big enough
small.
ship.
They kept being like, and this is maybe a sin for later, but they kept being like, oh, we're going to kill all your crew. And I'm like, all 3 of them? Ooh.
There is a crew of like 10 on there. It doesn't need many people to man it, but it's meant to be a warship. Like it was deliberate. It wasn't built for exploration. It was the first like kind of Starfleet ship that was built for war and battle, which is why it's so different and can be manned with less people.
Yeah, well, like you're right though. There was a familiarity to it that I was really like drawn into. But that's what I was really enjoying about those moments is, okay, their costuming isn't distracting me, their lingo isn't distracting me. I am able to like look at what else is on the screen, and there was so much to look at.
So much.
And then let's go to the shuttle.
Yes.
Because that was really fun. How did you feel when you saw this the first time? Do you remember?
I remember it because I was doing a watch through. I'd watched bits and pieces of Deep Space Nine after school, but the first time I did a watch through start to finish was when I was like 21, 22, something like that. And then I did another watch through with my dad when I was like 27-ish. And this one just tickles me. I just think it's done so well. Because sometimes you can be like, oh, the throwaway episode there. You can tell from the humor, the score, everything. You can be like, oh, this one doesn't really matter. But this one, it's just got a special place in my heart. It's so fun because this is something I've never seen Star Trek do before. So this was a script that was by Renee Echeverria. I can never say their name right. But it was meant to be for Next Generation, but they never found a way that made sense to do it. And just imagine like waiting through the Next Generation and then into season 6 of Deep Space Nine, and they're finally like,
we get to do
okay, you can do the shrinking ship story. This is how it makes sense. And it's so fun. I think that little ship is adorable when it does its little boop on the keypad to get into the bridge. That is just buried in my brain as just this little like, okay, and thrusters, boop. And it's such a great, I think the way the runabout uses its environment around the ship is so great. And the amount that they get to pull off is so impressive to me. And it was the episode was nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Visual Effects. It didn't win. It absolutely should have won because I feel like the runabout is flying around this ship, is doing the booping, is interacting with its area in a way where they could have cut corners so much. We could have stuck to more internal shots. We could have done a lot of CGI, but they actually built a miniature version of the runabout. So you've got the regular runabout models, then they built one that was even smaller so that you could work with it. It's not exactly to scale, but that's fine. But it's physically there. That ship is physically there, flying about the ship, and it makes me so happy. It's so well done.
How badly do you want the people who make the ships to make an actual mini one?
This is it. I just want them to make all of the ships for me to purchase. Like the people that made the OG ships. And I wish we would do this with modern shows. I mean
like for you to buy. So like you have the Defiant and then you can buy the one that just fits on the end of a toothpick.
Oh man, if it was all to scale,
to scale.
Flies in it, I would love that so much. But physical models are so different.
I agree.
They hit differently.
They do. And that's one of the behind the scenes stuff with Lord of the Rings that I love so much is like watching all the models that they built and they're shooting it and it just looks so good. You know, now you did say CGI, but I feel that at this time CGI really wasn't something to think about.
It's green
building.
Screens.
It's not. Yeah. I feel like it would have looked distracting and how it was able to fly around the space was really fun.
I'm baffled. It's literally like it's on a stick. That's on a stick and they're booping the comm panel. It's so great.
And it makes it that's what I feel like it would have been like to watch it for the first time. For me watching it now, was this my most favorite episode of Star Trek? Like, no, it wasn't like it drew me in, but it was a great episode. It wasn't angry with it or anything, but I think I kept trying to go back, like, what would this be like watching it? And the delight of watching this little ship zip around.
It is delightful.
It was like I tapped into the ether and could like hear all of the delightful giggles of people watching this for the first time, just kind of like hide and seeking around the ship. And
well, it could have been goofy. It could have been like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It could have been done a little bit poorly, but I think that there's a couple of things they did that really counteracted that for me. And it's at the beginning of the episode, they know this is going to happen. And Kira is in on the joke, and they're just like, you do know this is ridiculous. We are shrinking people. And it's all part of the anomaly. It's not like there's an episode of TNG where the transporter turns them into children, and that was a surprise. This isn't a shock. We know that they're going to be shrunk down. This is for science, and we have to have a straight face because it's for science. And Kira is there being us saying, guys, this is ridiculous.
So
what the hell are we doing? This is so dumb.
Yeah.
And that does a lot of work for me because you can roll your eyes and just be like, oh, space anomaly turns them really small, but we know it's going to happen. And the other thing they do is just how they, like we said, is how they interact with the sets. They built the sets to walk around. How that little ship zipping around at the end and zapping people, firing torpedoes.
That was so fun.
There's a firefight with a ship inside engineering.
They fire phasers at a giant
It's incredible. Fire
It's fun.
torpedoes at the giant, literal giant. Like you could have gone to a planet and it's like, oh, everyone on this planet is so tall. So the ship looks small, but I think they executed this so great.
I do too. But I'm glad that you mentioned the humor playing a part in this episode, because I noticed it at the very beginning. You know, it's almost a little bit forced, but the dynamic
it's a little bit jarring.
Yeah, the dynamic of this crew is something that I'm missing. Like I did feel like I was kind of missing the inside joke. Like I understand that they're laughing about shrinking and maybe it's just a whole bunch of dick jokes, you know. But,
well, I think it's like Nog is small. Nog is a Ferengi and Nog is tiny. So I think that's what he was getting at was, I don't see the issue with being small.
Yeah. But it's almost just like, oh, you're not tall. And that's like the whole inside joke is short men aren't the same as tall men or something. And
there's a little bit of that 90s stuff, like Friends coming into it. No, I'm with you.
You're not quite the coolest unless you look like this. And
gotta be 6'2".
So I kind of was like, is that what they're really like laughing about? Because I wasn't in on the joke, but then I also just felt like this crew of people are dynamically different than the other shows that I've been watching. There seems to be a lot of history. Like they're casual with Cisco. Like they're on the Defiant and he's just like ribbing it up and they're not like, yes, Captain. You know, it's not this super serious thing. Like serious things begin to happen and they hop to it or whatever. But the vibe was kind of like just inside jokey feeling. And that set me outside of the crew, but it didn't make me feel like I didn't want to watch it because it was just an interesting fact. But humor was a part of this one. It even ends on humor with Odo and Quark kind of like ribbing these two characters so that they have to go check to make sure that they're the same size. And if height is an issue, just make yourself taller. Like I don't know.
It's the 24th century. I'm sure there's ways to do it. Just wear some big shoes. But I said this to you at the end of the episode. I love the rare moments where Odo and Quark do a team up because they are adversarial. They're not enemies, but Odo is out to catch it's Tom and Jerry. Odo is out to catch the mouse, and he rarely does. He rarely actually gets one up on Quark. So it's really fun to see them gang up on Miles, on O'Brien and Bashir together and have their little chuckle. It's so fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I think overall this was a really fun episode. What were some other standout moments for you that you want to talk about?
Well, I'm going to head back into just my nerdery, which is this is the most detailed look we get of being inside the guts of the Defiant and a Starfleet ship. So when they fly in through the exhaust port and suddenly they realize the impulse engines are being brought up and they're going to be vaporized by plasma, this is the first time I've ever seen the engine starting up from the inside. So for me, it's just fun to see that process of the lights going, shum, 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 the lights coming on, the superheated plasma coming through, the ship doing its thing. Like, I'm glad it took so long to load up because they would have been vaporized. But I love going in and out and seeing the guts of the ship. That was really, really fun for me.
It was fun. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah. Because you asked about like the small ship and like what it was like to go and see the insides of the ship.
Yeah.
I thought that was really delightful.
What about you,
obviously
Ambassador?
Don't know where we were in the ship, you know, like contextually.
Yep, that's fair. Neither did I.
I was like, we're in a port, and then all of a sudden it like kicks out and we see him fly out of like
this weird
like
exhaust
a little
port.
vent on the bottom,
flappy bit. The luckily is flappy and not like a solid wall.
But why is it flappy if it's got really dangerous shit in there?
Yeah. Reasons.
Okay. All
reasons.
Right. Anyway.
There's no need for that.
Okay, that's obviously
Completely.
a sin that I'll forget about when we get to the sin section. So I'll just slide it in there now. But I liked how the little ship was hiding behind some pipes, and then it was hiding behind the toolbox, and then it was like shooting people.
Oh, it's so adorable, isn't it? And like when something gets picked up in front of it, it's almost like spinning its wheels. Just like I gotta move, I gotta go.
Kind of reminds me of Johnny Five. Did you ever see?
No.
Did you ever see what was that movie? Number 5 is Alive. I can't remember the name of that movie.
I don't know. Somebody will have it. Short Circuit?
Yes, Short Circuit.
Pulled that from my brain. Definitely not from the live chat.
There's a like a robot character in that movie, and he just that and some of the other like little robots that I remember seeing when I was little, it kind of had that little vibe, like it had its own little personality in that moment. Now I know it's being driven around by Dax, but because of how that was flying around and moving, it's almost like the shuttle was its own character.
Yes, they did a great job of that.
And that was really fun. But for me, the highlight of the shrinking moments was absolutely when Chief O'Brien and Sassy
Bashir?
Doctor were in like the big playland of circuitry.
Yes.
That was really funny to me. Like, or even the scene leading up to it where they're like, we're going to beam in. And the doctor's like, you're not gonna live because the molecules are massive.
And he's like, yay, I don't have to go. Oh, I have a plan for that. Shit, I have to go.
He goes, well, that solves that, and it's just the casual way that he delivers his lines and the way that they kind of just barb back and forth it just feels like a real friendship. It feels like a real long-standing working relationship where you're technically trying to problem solve. And what I also like about it is you have these characters that like, yeah, they're going to put their life on the line because, this is serious stuff and they're going to do what they have to do because it's a serious moment. It's going to take them a minute to get there and they're going to use some humor and they're going to have some time to barb back and forth. But also we get to see them do the hard work and go in and do it.
Yes.
And I like that. I like that they showed us suffering through this
There's got to be some stakes in there. Yeah, exactly.
And we kind of got to see it. And I don't know. It's just fun to see a props department go, let's have some fun,
guys.
Let's
go. We're going to have some fun and we're going to build some stuff. Like, it's not often you're going to get to do that. It'll only be used once. I've never seen any part of that miniature set get used again. And now that I looked really closely, I was like, man, you could recycle every single part of that set because they don't build a lot. But I'm just glad they build it at all because you could write that scene out of it and just find another way to do this. But they really committed to, this is the only chance we're going to get to see Tiny O'Brien and Tiny Bashir inside a console.
That was
it's
super
so great.
Funny. And those like long tubes, when they came out, they even put...
the ducting.
Yeah, but it wasn't just... This is where the props department impresses me all the time, but it wasn't just a piece of metal. They actually put little rectangular panels that also lit up on the connecting bits that I thought was really clever. But I just think that set would be a really fun thing to see. Imagine walking into work that day.
I would love that. It's like everyone must have just been overjoyed because these are isolinear chips that we recognize and you're seeing like 12-foot versions of them. I would have loved to walk around that set. I think it's really, really, really cleverly done.
Yeah. I also liked whenever he finally gets the conduit like up into the ceiling.
Yeah.
And it's just such a great humor beat to kind of the relief that they feel. And then it just kind of like falls out.
Just falls down. Like, do it again.
And O'Brien isn't going to go help. He's just like waves his hand like, get to it, buddy.
Because at this point, they know that Bashir has been genetically engineered by his parents as well. They did some interfering that was illegal with his genes that made him super intelligent and increased strength and like reflexes.
Is that like the same thing that happened with number 2 on Strange New Worlds?
It's similar. It's actually it's a very similar program. Wait.
It wasn't a race, like, but they were like,
yes, it's the same. Yeah, it's a different species. It's not. It's
different species.
It's the same ruling, like it's the same law that prevented that genetic meddling from happening, but they're not the same, not exactly the same thing.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, chat. Illyrians, that's it.
Illyrians, that's the one. But yeah, Bashir has just been, he's a human that's been meddled with so that he could get ahead and do better. And he doesn't find out about it until like season 4 or 5.
But he's not Illyrian.
He's not Illyrian.
Okay,
no.
okay. That'd be interesting.
But good memory.
I wonder why they chose not to do Illyrian. Why do you think that they would choose
I think they
not to
hadn't
bring
made it
Illyrian?
yet. I think they hadn't invented it by Deep Space Nine.
What?
Well, Strange New Worlds comes before Deep Space Nine, but it's obviously been written afterwards.
So they made that up for Strange New Worlds?
Man, you're asking me stuff now. No, I don't.
I'm asking you stuff.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I can't remember off the top of my head. Check back next week for Ian Gets Fact Checked.
Yeah, send in your knowledge because we can do like a little knowledge moment at the start of next week's episode.
Yeah, something about Illyrians. I'll do some Googling. But yeah, it's not the same thing in Deep Space Nine. I know that.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, super interesting. Not a popular choice because they kind of it was kind of like, oh, we need a Lieutenant Commander Data on this show, so he suddenly had like the ability to do quick math, and it was a little bit eye rolly. And the actor that played Bashir was like, I was interesting enough. Why did they have to retcon my character in season 5?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't watch it, so I didn't experience like how much finagling that they did with the character, but it does make sense because a character like a Data in a world like this, where you're in space having to make quick decisions that are going to save everybody's life, or you're going to blow up in the middle of nowhere, you need to have some superpowers going on, either in the form of a computer person. And if they're not trying to reinvent Data, why not take a character and give them a little bit of a boost? So choosing to go with I was altered in the womb instead of like I had a there was an accident when I was beamed in.
Yeah,
that's
I got
interesting
super strength.
though, you know, like something that can't be undone due to some, you know, like, there's lots of ways to infuse superpowers with a character. It's interesting to give it to the Doctor. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, it is, because he's not necessarily going to use the strength, but it definitely helps when they're on like some mission and they're abandoned on a planet and he has to like use his super brain to do stuff. But it wasn't a popular choice with the fans.
Yeah, overall. That happens sometimes.
This is the question I always ask for Deep Space Nine. You got to see a little bit more of Jadzia this episode. How are you feeling about your daughter's favorite character?
Thank you for reminding everyone that this is my daughter's favorite character. It's not just her favorite character. It's if she was going to play a character, this is the one that she would play because she saw her scanning the tribbles to see if there were bombs.
Yep, she was saving the tribbles.
So, yeah. I don't know. It's weird. It's not that I don't like her. It's I guess I am like the mother-in-law
of Worf.
That no one is good enough for my Worf. Does that make sense?
And Worf, your wife is here, and she's so tiny. She's in the little ship. I wanted Worf to
liked that
the ship. It's a great moment
when she's like blowing kisses through the screen, and you can kind of see it because it's so tiny, but you can still see her doing it. It's so cute.
Hi. I love that moment.
You know. So there's the character Dax, and then there's like how she interacts with Worf. This is my favorite episode that I've seen of her so far, because she obviously has more of a purpose than being a brat. So
fair.
I saw her pilot a ship and fire phasers and take command, and I saw her get hurt and recover from that and know her crew and zoom in on the monitor, figure out a situation. I mean, obviously, I got to see this like part of her that I really, the problem-solving puzzle person. Yeah. But then she also has this very childlike, like strength to her silliness.
Yeah, she does.
And that I really love because I'm very similar to that. So she's in a life or death situation and she's cracking jokes and she's smiling and waving. Like she doesn't even know how she's going to get big yet.
Yeah. Is this going to work? Am I going to get back?
And she's like, hey! So I kind of love that sort of chaotic nature.
She is chaos.
My favorite moment was probably at the end when Worf teases her and doesn't actually have a line of the poem, and he shows this part of himself I've never seen before. And I was like, oh
Learning
my
to
God,
play.
Look at Worf.
He's playing.
He's playing, and I haven't seen that. I mean, I will watch him snap next all day. Like, I love
Hell
that.
Yeah.
Like, go kick some ass, Worf. I love it when he gets irritated and he's like stomping around going, I should have known better. That's the Worf I know. But this,
beating himself up.
It wasn't even that he was tender. It was that he was playful with her. And I was like, oh, now I see it. So now I feel like the mother-in-law that's like, no, okay. It's been 7 years. You've been married for a long time now. I'm finally coming on board or whatever. But I liked this episode with Jadzia. I thought she was really fun to watch this one.
Yeah.
I don't think that she was like the main character I was drawn to.
No.
Can I tell you who annoyed me?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm super nervous because I know people love the show, but
don't say Cisco.
It was Cisco.
What?
He annoyed the fuck out of me.
Why did he annoy you this episode? We gotta go. We gotta take the show off the air.
No,
we're gonna do this.
No.
We're gonna do this in private, and then I'll edit down something that works.
No.
Why? I'm intrigued.
There's a couple of there's a couple of moments, like, I know that the show is saying, like, do this. I know the director is saying do this, right? So this isn't an acting choice or anything. It's just the character that I'm looking at. I think he's a bit reckless in a couple of scenes, and I don't quite know why that annoyed me. There's this one particular scene that just is stuck in my mind, and it's when he's taken individually to the bridge, and he's being told that he needs to fix the warp core, and so he begins to kind of negotiate for his crew to help.
Yeah.
And observe this. And he puts his hands kind of behind his back, like he's just sort of like walking around in this super ego confident moment. And
He's
I'm
projecting confidence. Yeah.
And I'm like, he's walking freely in between them. I don't know. It just seemed really stupid.
I think I have the same issue actually, but I don't aim it at Cisco. I aim it at like the writers for this one, because Cisco's plan, I think what bugs me about it is that Cisco's plan really shouldn't work. The Jem'Hadar should absolutely be killing prisoners. Because previously we've seen them be brutal. The whole point is that the Jem'Hadar are like really brutal. Like they don't take prisoners. So in order for this whimsical episode to work, you've got to find a way to break their characteristics and what they do. And part of that is, though, these alphas act differently. So, and the Cisco's plan shouldn't, and the confidence that he delivers it with shouldn't work. I never feel like Cisco is in any danger. I don't even feel like Cisco is scared. I don't even feel like any of the crew are scared.
And I
think that's why that character-wise that feels weird.
The tension that I feel that I think I should be feeling, I don't feel, because Cisco is so detached from this being a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I don't like Cisco this episode. And I don't know if it's because he should have been more serious. There are a couple of moments when he does get serious, and it's when he's talking about killing everyone.
I love it.
No, it's when he was whispering for me.
Oh, like, interesting.
When he was kind of talking one-on-one with his crew. When he was getting his big booming voice, I almost liked him even less.
Oh, interesting.
It was weird. I don't have a lot of experience with Cisco. Yeah. I rarely hear his voice. Like this is not an introduction that I'm used to.
No, all of the episodes we've done haven't been Cisco heavy.
The way he delivers his lines and things, it has a cadence to it that I'm not used to, and so I'm missing some nuance, and I understand that. That's why I'm nervous about saying I didn't like Cisco. But
no, you're good.
There could have been no Cisco this episode, and I think it would have been better.
It didn't need him. It didn't need him to command this mission. But I think that's what I was picking up on as well, was just the lack of seriousness. And this is the problem when you do a whimsical episode like this that's also intertwining the big bad of the season. It's hard to not belittle the big bad, because all of the alphas look stupid, and even the Gamma looks stupid and stripped of any kind of weight. We should be more scared of the Jem'Hadar than we are in this episode.
I felt that I was supposed to be intimidated, but the way that the Deep Space Nine characters were interacting with them did not feel. It felt like they knew they were stupid.
Yes.
It felt like they knew that they were.
We've got the upper hand.
Yeah, and they didn't.
And they shouldn't have. They absolutely shouldn't.
But the moment that I took him the most serious is when he kind of would drop down to a whisper, and when he told Nog that he was going to be blowing the ship up. I was like, oh, that's his plan. Because the other thing we have going on here is that Jadzia is the one that tells us their plan, and it was a clever scene as well. Where
I like that.
We have like the bird's eye nest view, and they're showing the characters, and they're telling us what they're doing, so that they don't have to talk about it in the room, which would have absolutely been a sin talking about it in the room.
It really would.
But at the same time, they managed to talk about it in the room because they're all on the same page, and so they have their little missions, and they're walking around, they're doing their things, and I loved knowing that that's what they were doing. But when we came down into it and he was giving information, that's when I believed the seriousness of it.
Yes.
But when he was like doing his bravado, it felt like, why would you be risking everything if you know that these people would usually behead you? Like there's some episodes we've watched where our crew has been captured. The one that I'm thinking of is when they get to escape. It's the one where when they beam out, they're naked. With the Ferengi and Deanna's mom.
Oh, Menage a Troy.
Yeah. So when we watched that one, and they like outsmart the Ferengi because of a saying, I'm gonna beat you at chess.
Yeah, I can't see the board from over here. Please let me out.
It this was the better version of that. So
yes.
I'm not saying it was bad,
no.
But I'm saying like there was just something about how it was being acted. Like they were having so much fun almost that I didn't really get that we were actually in danger. It was just a fun episode, which is great. I love fun episodes.
No, I'm with you. Like what's interesting is that you've picked up on something that in theory should be more jarring in the context of knowing what's happening this season. So it's something that I probably, when I was watching it in order, I did pick up on. If we're doing one of like, because we're at war with the Dominion, if we do this episode and it's like a series, we know this is going to be like an episode about the Dominion War, and the Defiant gets captured and the crew are locked up, and the Defiant is like an important ship in this war, I'm scared. Like the Defiant is a big deal. Like if the Defiant gets captured, that's a lot of important technology, and it's a big deal because they are like, it's in so many battles, and they're so proud of that ship. And this happens within the first few minutes, and it's like, oh, they caught it. Oh shit. And yet I didn't feel any of that. I didn't feel any of the oh shit that the Jem'Hadar are all over this ship.
It was a fun episode on top of a serious moment, and that's okay. But it just and maybe they purposefully did this to take this inflated bad guy and make them more into that we can defeat them because they're stupid.
It's just the wrong time to do it because we're like mid-season. For me, it feels like it.
I guess I don't know what happens next, but if at this point in their storytelling, the bad guy begins to be more defeated, then this episode kind of does what it needs to do. It lets the air out of the tire, and the audience begins to no longer believe that this is the, really, really hard enemy to face. But
I mean, anyway, I
Cisco,
get what you
for
mean.
me, was the one that should have been showing a little bit more reserve, but maybe I missed something, and it's that scene in that bridge that I just didn't like. But maybe he was just doing bravado to them and to his crew. He did have seriousness, I guess, in the jail scene too, like when they were kind of all together. But
that's the way that I took it, was that he's projecting bravado and confidence because he doesn't want to show weakness. And I think the forgiveness I would give is that they're also like, they are at war. So maybe they've been at war for a little while, and they're all kind of like prepared to die a little bit. Nobody wants to die, but they're all kind of like, they've been going under some more intense campaigns, and this isn't a surprise. Like they are in it. Like they are in deep with the Dominion right now.
Yeah. I think I kind of talked myself around on that one. I think it's okay.
I like that.
He bugged me a bit.
I like talking about it, but I get it.
Part of the show. Part of the show is that we're not seeing it all in order.
But no, I think you've picked up on something. I think there is the threat that should be there with the, like, if this was just a random alien species that was like, oh look, we're going to take advantage of that ship and grab it, I might give it a pass. But the Jem'Hadar taking the ship should be terrifying. That should be like the Borg jumping on and taking the ship. That would suck.
I do want to say one more thing before we go on, and maybe this is actually a sin, but maybe it's not. I'm gonna put, it might be a transition into the sins part. Are you ready to go into the sins next?
I was just going to pip it first, and then we're ready for some sins. So how many pips out of 4 or 5? I don't know what we do anymore.
I think it's like 2.
Oh,
are you okay?
I'm okay. No, it's 2.5 pips from me. Like the novelty of it gets it up there. It's not the best episode, but it's so much. I have so much fun with it, and it's one that I would throw on in the background of. I've got 45 minutes while I'm doing something else. I would have this on because visually, it's nice to look over and to see the fun stuff happening on screen.
2.5 is fine. Yeah, 2.5. Okay, but there are no halves, people. So it's either 2 or 3.
Yeah, I know. I'll go. So. That's harsh. Halves are important, and I know this was my rule. I'm going to go 3 pips because it should have won the Emmy.
It was a. Oh, okay. Yeah, 3 pips for sure.
I'm giving it 3 in compensation for not winning an Emmy.
I just came off of like feeling negative about some of the stuff no, this is a 3 pipper. And because of the sets, it's so fun to look at.
It is.
It really was. It really was. But the
work was great. Let's do it. Let's go and do some sins. Battle stations, everyone. Red alert.
I love how the chat's like, you keep saying you can't do halves, but you do it anyway.
I keep doing it. We've definitely got some halves on record. It just makes sense. It gives you more wiggle room. Okay. This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sin brains, remind ourselves that no TV show is without sin, even our tough little ships. It's you first. Go for it.
Can we talk about pockets? Can we talk about massive
please.
pockets on the side of our legs, just right down on that thigh level? Like,
really?
I can't tell if they're like the best addition to the bad guy uniform.
Oh, the bad guy uniform. I missed this completely.
Or if it's like just, you know what? We want them to seem more like prepared for battle. And how do we show that? Just a huge envelope just right on the thigh. And I can't tell if I love it or, but now that you didn't see it, you have nothing to say about it.
I don't have anything to add, but I believe you, and you are the costume person, so if you think it's impractical, I believe you. We'll send it.
I just want to know what's in there.
Guns.
What's in the thigh pocket?
Guns. A little notebook, little diary. Everyone has a little diary, dear diary. Today.
I guess there are just some things that once they're invented, there is just no improving. And the envelope pocket is one of them, you know?
Yeah. It's an important question. I'm glad I now want to go back, rewatch the episode and check the pockets. Like, if we do more Deep Space Nine in this era, I will now only be looking for the Jem'Hadar pockets.
Please do.
Mm-hmm.
Please do. And tell me if you think that they are foreboding and intense and like give you that feeling that this is a formidable foe.
The Borg don't have pockets.
They sure do. They have skin pockets everywhere.
They do, yeah. They are one walking pocket. They are all of their gadgets. Yeah.
They're like a Swiss Army knife of pockets.
They really are. We'll put a pin in that, and I'm really excited for an episode where we see a Jem'Hadar pull something out of the pocket now. It's got to happen. That's amazing. They try to explain the science, and that all of your even your subatomic particles will be shrinking at the same time. And they try really hard to make this science make sense. I still am convinced they would die. I think shrinking would 100% kill them dead until they died from it. I do not believe they survived shrinking and re-enlarging.
I
think that's traumatic.
Can we talk about how the plan to unshrink them was to go back into the thing, which would
the worst.
Potentially make them even smaller?
Right? Why wouldn't it make them small? Why does it care? Why does it care that it doesn't know your original size? This is implying that it knows how big you should be, and that it cares about the route that you took in and out. And like, why didn't it just like kill you when you left? Like, it's so convenient. We need to fix this problem. This is how we get you big again. Like, they're lucky they only lost an inch, honestly.
It was really, it was one of those where the sin would be yada-yadaing around. But they didn't even yada-yada.
Yeah.
There was no conversation. It was, we're going to have to go back through the disc to do this. So
yeah.
And then there was like the little outro. Well, we did that. Now everything is great.
Now we're good. That worked.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. My next one this is probably my biggest sin of the episode, and it's really crucial. We are relying on O'Brien's brain so much. How does the runabout not have a map or schematic of the Defiant? Why are we relying on his memory? And Bashira's like, I hope you know where you're going, Chief. And he's like, yeah, I just don't see it from this perspective. You don't have to. You must have a map of the internal workings of the Defiant. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Just use a schematic.
But also, sin here that's confusing for me is they can communicate with each other on the little ship, but the communicators don't work to the big ship. Right?
Yes.
Because they can only talk to each other.
Well, it would be a really high-pitched voice. That's why they can't understand it.
Just chipmunks. Just a tiny little chipmunk voice. But why couldn't they ask her to use the computer to help them with the schematics for the ship?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. It's not
use
like
the computer.
It's not like they have to bust out a manual, like a physical manual, and look up in the index where all that information is. It's just like a, hey, computer.
Yeah.
Tell me which way I'm turning now.
Yeah.
Like if
I don't know why it's
ChatGPT
O'Brien's
can answer
memory.
This question now.
Yeah. I bet it could navigate me through. Yeah. I don't understand why O'Brien's brain is so crucial in this one.
I mean, I guess.
My next one is when they're explaining the plan, the Jadzia and O'Brien are explaining what everyone is doing, And Jadzia's like, it'll never work. And the crux of it is that Nog cracking the codes, which the reason that's going to take so long is because the bridge will give you access to enter the codes and whatnot, but it's deliberately isolated on the bridge so that Data can sabotage the ship, but no one else on the ship can. So it's deliberately isolated on the bridge. From engineering, it's really hard to gain control of the bridge. So the codes that he has to go through, that's why he's struggling with that. But they know that it's going to take weeks, so it's not a viable plan. Like that's as soon as Nog was just like, "Yep, I can do it. Give me even
17 days."
Then new plan, because this one ain't the one that you want. Like, and it's weird that Cisco even entertains this plan when he knows there's not a chance of it getting done in 30 minutes.
Well, but that's not true, because in the world of Star Trek, if something has if something has to take days or hours to fix, all you have to do as a commanding officer is say, I'm going to need that to happen faster.
Yeah, and then it does.
And then it does.
It's a Scotty maneuver. You always inflate the repair time.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fair. That's fair.
Let's see. This is an obvious one. It's an easy one. We don't have to talk about it. The sin is no one seeing the shuttle.
Yeah,
that is the sin of this episode.
Yeah. Stealth's pretty good.
Did the lizard people have bad eyesight?
I don't think so. They're hunters. They're meant to have great eyesight.
Okay. That makes it worse.
Yeah.
I see like a fly zip by across my room, and I'm in a room that has a ton of shit in it. If I see something, I'm like, oh, what was that? This is a small shuttlecraft or whatever with lights on it. I just don't think that there's a way that nobody saw it in all of the spaces it went through, because the angles of the camera would cleverly cut to them running out the door, but they still had to go through the entire room to get there. So I kind of wanted to see how they zipped through everybody and didn't get seen. But then there's even this one where they're like right in front of the guy's eyes, and sure, he's looking down, right, but that's like, how do you not? Anyway,
I was like, whoa, are we cloaked? Like, what's going on? Yeah, I want to hear the. Can anybody hear a low buzzing?
Yeah, just something. Yeah.
What is that?
It's a little. Just these little sounds that would likely be happening.
I love that.
Yeah, that one was frustrating.
My next one, this one took me out of the episode, and I only noticed it on this watch through. It's the first time.
Okay.
But it's after Jadzia has done some maneuvering to get them to where they need to be, and Bashir is like, nice flying, and she says, if you like that, you're going to love what's coming up next. Eyes to camera, and then it's the long pause, clearly the commercial break, and I'm like,
yeah,
you can't talk to me like that. You can't turn to the camera and say, you can. Coming up next, you're gonna love this.
I loved it. It was so jarring. Stupid. I loved it so much.
You know they wrote that deliberately.
100%.
You know they knew where the pause was gonna be.
Oh yeah.
It's so rare to hear Star Trek talk to the camera like that.
It was so funny.
Stay tuned on our next crazy shenanigans.
It stood out so clearly.
It's so big.
And it was also okay, so that's in line with her character. Like, does she get braggadocious like that? Like,
absolutely. She's very
well, that's
confident.
even better then.
Yeah. It's completely in character. If Worf had said that, I would have been like, I probably would have vomited. But Jadzia saying it absolutely makes sense. Even O'Brien, I could maybe like give him a pass if he said it. But yeah, it was like immediate commercial. I was like, okay, I'm going to go get a cup of tea. Oh, wait, that's not how streaming works anymore.
I kind of loved it.
Yeah,
but
fine.
I'm glad that you're sending it, because it would actually be like, it was straight to commercial.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all commercials.
150,000%.
All of it.
I really like this one came up in the chat, and I have it too, and I'm gonna pull it up on screen. So
do
hold on
it.
just 1 second, because it's my next one. But where is it? I thought I saved it. Hold on. Oh no, where did it go? Okay, maybe I can't find it. God damn it, YouTube.
God damn it, YouTube.
Okay, and now I gotta find it in my notes.
Well, I've got one while you're searching.
No, I got it.
No? Okay, cool.
Okay. The sin here is penetrating the accretion disk.
Yes.
So we've talked about Deep Space Nine being horny as
horny.
fuck.
Yeah.
This is one of those moments I'm like, what?
Did you have to say penetrating? That's
The
so many
accretion
words.
disc.
Yeah.
It's not
so
even.
Many, yeah.
It's such a secretion word.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. My secretion disc does not enjoy being penetrated.
Just that phrase.
Yeah.
Is a sin. Absolutely.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm going to pull one from the live chat as well because it's a great point that I hadn't thought of. Why not beam over some more fucking air? Like, why? Like, she's like, I'll beam over a pocket of air and you'll be able to breathe it. It'll be thin. It will last 20 minutes. Beam over more. You're producing oxygen on that ship. Beam over more. Oh, guess what? Guess what I Guess what I bet the runabout has? Space suits.
Uh-huh.
Get into the space. You don't need to be naked while you're doing this. Get some oxygen around you. Like,
okay, to be fair, they're not that horny. They weren't wearing clothes.
That they were wearing clothes. It is such a great point. A couple of people said it in the live show. It's such a great point. It's like beam over more air. Use the space suits that absolutely must be on the Defiant. What a thing to just like, I'm not going to address this at all. They were damaged as we were transforming out of the nebula. Fine. Give me something.
No, I agree with you 100%. My next sin happened earlier in the episode when O'Brien was like asking the question about returning to size. And my sin is like, you're just asking this now?
Yeah, now? Not before the mission started?
You're already in the secretion zone.
The accretion disc. You're going to be small.
Yeah, you have penetrated. There is secretion happening. This is not the time to ask if you've got correct protection.
No.
That should have been a conversation you had. This is a consent conversation that should have happened in the living room. I mean, on the bridge or in your ready room.
Yeah. It's not now. This is the meanest sin I would absolutely put into the video, and it's that the runabout is technically the wrong size. It's not the size that they say it is, because they give specifics of exactly how big the runabout is going to shrink to, what they're going to shrink to. And the reason that it's not that size is because the model would have been too small to light properly. So it would have been, the lighting wouldn't have looked right. They had to make the model this size for it to work, but it's still a sin.
I kept thinking about that too. Like, it just seems like this is not right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it was fun to watch.
Totally worth it. I love it.
Okay, what's my next one here? So, and I might be misunderstanding this part of the show. So this might not be an actual sin. Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Right. Well, this is why we talk about this. And this is our sin writing portion where we go back and forth. Is this actually a sin?
Yeah, is this actually a sin? Cut it.
So Jadzia is saying, I need to be able to see. Get me some visuals. And my sin is stop moving.
Until you've got visual. Yeah.
Like the I feel like what the show was saying is that she's flying through space and ASAP needs to have visuals. So, and that's what I don't know if I'm missing. Like, I don't know if she was.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that might be argumentative enough where we wouldn't do it because,
But then she does end up face to face with the ship. She wasn't in the anomaly, which was where they were.
No, she had it. Yeah, they had escaped. So I think.
But then you just stop. It's like if you don't have your shirt on over your head. Like, if you're putting your shirt on and you're walking out of your
running
room,
to the car.
You don't run to the you put your shirt on and then you get to the car. So it's like, okay, you made it through the anomaly. Just stop moving. Get your visuals. So anyway.
I think.
So maybe just.
She was wanting to make sure they were free of the anomaly.
My sin is put your shirt on.
And they didn't know where to stop. My sin is not that. It's the opposite. But yeah, no, I think there's a way we could sin that. My sin around that was that the blast shielding. The blast shields were malfunctioning and the sensors were malfunctioning, which is very convenient. And it's not convenient, but it's very deliberately set up so that we can have the big reveal of Bashir doing the brilliant, what's up there? And then his spin turn on the chair where he goes upside down has been memed and gifted so much. It's like me whenever somebody confuses me with something I should understand but don't. And he does the...
Yeah, it was great.
And just looks up and reads the Defiant.
I didn't know it was
really
great, but it's worth it.
Yeah,
it was so
you'll see it now. It's a really, really kind of notorious.
Yeah, link me on the Discord.
Yeah, heck yeah. Anything else, Ambassador? That's all of my big sins that I really had.
No, but I did want to know if 56-011003 was a callback.
Oh, yeah, completely.
It doesn't spell boobs.
No, it doesn't spell boobs. I don't know. I don't think so. It could be. If it is, it's not one that I'm aware of. It could be somebody's car registration.
They put that into like they'll hide things like that, and
yeah,
it'll
for
be
sure.
like somebody's birthday or something
well,
like that.
often the picture that I've got up at the minute is of the entry pad to get to the bridge. And quite often on the LCARS things, they'll have the names of some of the executive producers or some of the crew or like the casting people. Their last names will be text on the LCARS display, which is really fun. Like Michael Okuda, his name is in quite a lot of them as the designer of the LCARS. So yeah, there are Easter eggs in there.
Yeah, I wonder what that one would be. I was trying to figure it out because it was like on that little thing that they were fixing.
Yeah, I don't know.
So then my sin would be not making it boobies.
It's fair. It should have just been, look, that's Isolinear chip 8008i3s.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right.
Yes, Twix. What do you need? Touch me. Okay, Ambassador. Well, I'm glad you had a good time with that episode. It's a goofy one. It's a fun one. It's one of my kind of go-to goofy Deep Space Nine episodes. So I'm glad you had a good time. With that, it's time to head over.
I thought of another one.
Go for it.
And I don't know if this is one either.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a joke. Because Worf was joking.
Okay.
But he did say that it was his first time to write a poem.
I think it is.
Do you think that was actually true?
Yeah, I think so.
Then that's a sin. Because the idea is that poems are written on big moments.
Yes.
Has nothing
for a loved
his
one.
life.
I think it's specifically on behalf of a loved one. I think this tradition was. Look, they made it up for this episode. It can be whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah,
There's
but
not
that's
anything
still
that
like.
I've heard of.
So it's
They usually
only
write
to your
songs
loved
for
one.
big moments. They write songs for big moments. Like they will sing songs of this victory is what they usually do. So I assume poetry is specifically for a loved one instead of a song.
Okay, so he was supposed to write something for her to commemorate her
this
shrinkage.
Mission. No, the mission to begin with, because it was an important scientific discovery, and then he's going to use the shrinkage as part of the poem. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That actually,
I just felt like there's got to be other moments in his life that were worth it. But if it's just tied to a loved one, then I guess I would have to give that a pass.
That was my interpretation, because the songs what the Klingons usually go to. My other one that I just remembered was teasing us with some Worf poetry and not delivering on the Worf poetry. We don't actually get to hear. I think he'd write some great poetry.
Oh, I know he would.
Wouldn't just rhyme.
Did you hear his line?
Right. Tough little. It's just there once was a little ship that went on a little trip. It was amazing. And yes, I know about Kayla, but they weren't really together long enough for him to write poetry about her. They just doinked. But yes. With that, let's head over to Danae's Mind Palace in the holodeck and see what we're going to watch next week.
Do you see this dog?
He is insistent. Insistent.
Hi, buddy. Can I help you?
The eye contact.
You want to come up?
He does want to come up.
I guess so. Are you a little ship wanting to take a trip?
No, you're a big ship. You just think you're a little ship.
Oh my gosh, he's nuzzling.
Ugh. He really wants to be held. Okay, crew, it's time to test my Trekdom as we dive into Danae's brain for next week's episode. Ambassador, give us your brain. What are you seeing? Okay. I'm still so nervous.
Okay, I feel like the first thing you should do, because I always this happens when we're like bouncing off of ideas.
Yeah.
So I want you to give me something vague to bounce off of this time.
Oranges. Was that too specific?
Nope, that's fine. We'll do that.
Fruit.
I mean, that's where we're going.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So oranges is not terrible. Leave me alone. I was on the spot. This is meant to be her brain palace, not mine.
Okay. I just wanted like something to bounce off of, because last time it was very strange.
Okay, fruit. Okay. That's what I'm going with.
Fruit. Okay, so there's fruit and trees. There's people eating the fruit. Like, I'm seeing Grecian sort of garb. where they're like, like the grape feeding, which is not uncommon to think about when someone's thinking about fruit.
Yeah. I've got something in my head.
In the foreground there is an open hand, like you would assume that the camera would pan over and find someone dead, and there's a mystery, like a whodunit.
Okay.
That's what's in my imagination right now.
Okay. Let me do a quick bit of Googling. Chat, the first one I'm thinking of is Who Cries for Adonis or Plato's Stepchildren, which is what someone else just mentioned. I'm just going to do some Googling to see if that matches as much as I think it does.
There's also sand.
Okay. No, that helps. That
really?
helps.
No, really?
No, I think it does, because Who Mourns for Adonis, I think... Yeah. Me and Flyboy are thinking the same thing.
How does my brain do this? It's so scary.
How does Star Trek do this? But that's a few things that actually lines up.
Well, that's exciting.
Oh, this fucking mouse is being such a pain in the ass.
Is it TOS?
Yeah, it's TOS.
Oh, I love going back to TOS.
Yeah.
It's some of my favorite stuff to watch. So that makes me really
makes me so happy.
Yeah, I know. It's
Grecian
like
garb,
and stuff,
the fucking the hand is what killed me.
Why?
Because I don't want to tell you.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's not exact but you just said hand, and I'm just like, it's Who Mourns for Adonis, like that. That's what we're gonna do. There's no way we're not doing that.
I saw a hand, and it was in the foreground. It was quite large.
It's quite large, is what I'm latching on to.
Okay.
I'm just gonna quickly.
After almost 60 years, Trek has done almost everything. That's right. I could
real.
say
This
something.
is why this segment.
I could say something about like
kiss.
just someone playing an accordion. Like a circus. Is there a monkey? Is there one that has a monkey? That's probably
of course
in there
there
somewhere.
is. Yeah, there's but now my brain is. I'm just gonna Google Plato's Stepchildren, but I don't think that's the one. Yeah,
I actually really like how random and
no.
chaotic last week. I'm glad you're liking it. It's definitely a fun experiment.
Yeah, it's really this is so great.
Sweet.
Okay, so next week we are going to, based on the prompts, people eating fruit, Grecian garb, open hand, mystery whodunit, large open hand is what I'm going to say. We're going with I need to find the episode title before I do that, so I will backpedal.
Who Mourns for Adonis?
No, I need the which series it is.
Oh, yeah.
That is season 2, episode 2. Interesting, cool.
Like it. Okay.
Let me get back into it. Which means that we are going to be hitting Who Mourns for Adonis, which is season 2, episode 2 of Star Trek: The Original Series. There is one specific thing in here that I think will blow your mind when we get to it. This is a fun episode. I'm really looking forward to doing this. Well done, Ambassador, for getting into your brain. Thank you for a bit of support from the live chat as well. that was brilliant. If you want to get in touch with us, email us whatever you want to talk about. We are going to be getting to a mailbag episode at some point, we think in August. So start building up your any emails that you want to send to us, and any themes that you want, and any episodes that you really want us to cover, and we'll try and find a way to get them into the show. Email us captainspod@cinemasins.com and join us on the CinemaSins Discord, discord.gg/cinemasins, to join all of the Trek people. But until next week, thank you, Ambassador. As always, I'm Captain Ian, and Chief, you're not going to like this.
Oh, and it's this is a story of a little ship that took a little trip.
Live long and prosper.
Called the Derpa Prize.
Shut up. That's fun. Yeah, I got
weird?
to.
Did I do something weird?
Yeah, you did something weird. This is going to blow your mind when you see it. Who Mourns for Adonis? Like, when you said Grecian garb, I was already thinking Who Mourns for Adonis makes sense. And then you said large hand, and I was like, okay.
So here's more specifically what I see. It's like a shot of like a long courtyard, and it kind of goes off into the distance, and then I can see like people walking around. There's like a lilac colored dress and the Grecian like kind of garb, and there's some like trees sort of lining the side.
Mean, this is Nick. I was about to say the same thing. I know for a fact.
I don't.
I know for a fact. Have you Googled Who Mourns for Adonis?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't even know what that means.
Good. Please don't. Yeah.
Okay.
It's what yeah,
So there's, but
it appears that you've already seen this episode.
I people can believe what they want. I have not, but I have this very clear shot, and yeah,
I mean, Chad's going a bit wild at this one.
Really?
I've noted all of that down. Lilac dress, long courtyard. I don't believe you, and I know you haven't seen this episode, and I don't believe you.
It's up to you guys. I can only tell you the truth that but I haven't seen it.
This is amazing. I believe her. I absolutely believe her that this is not buried anywhere.
I had never seen TOS until we started doing this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So
but Nick is incredulous. Nick is incredulous as well. He should be.
Nick, it's okay.
As well, he should be. That's amazing, everyone.
But you know what's true? What's true is that when people do the Grecian style stuff, there's usually a courtyard, and so it's like there are some stereotypes. Yes, there are some stereotypes. So but that's what I see in my imagination. So I'm really curious.
This is. I am so happy we're doing this for so many reasons. This is such a crucial lesson.
Slap. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. Fair. Yeah,
I love
that's
it
fair.
So much. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But this is such an important lesson in confirmation bias because
fuck you, it's real.
Because this is how like psychics that exploit people work.
Yeah.
Like they concentrate on the hits, and statistically you're gonna have if you have an audience of 300 people and you say, I'm sensing somebody that lost a parent that begins with M, and people gasp, you lock onto that person. It sounds magical. But when you have so many different factors, it's bound to happen.
No, I really genuinely have not watched TOS until this show.
Mm-hmm.
So if we haven't watched it on the show, I haven't seen it. Does that mean that I haven't seen something in all of the years of watching content that is similar? No, but Grecian stuff is like it's you immediately have a visual for a reason.
Yeah, I haven't seen this episode in a while, so it's going to be interesting.
I love you guys so much. Thank you for joining us today. I guess is that the end of the show?
I think so. We can go through some comments.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to highlight this.
Oh yeah, you did stop recording. I just forgot to remove the banner.
Oh no, you're good.
Yeah.
Sean says, anyone else have Timmy Mallett's version of Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini in the Head? Damn you, Doctor Who. I just watched this with Aaron last night. I'm fully up to date with all of the Doctor Who episodes, and yes, that is stuck in my head. And I think Link had asked, somebody else was asking how I felt about this season of Doctor Who. Overall, I'm not a fan. I'm not enjoying it. I'm loving Ncuti Gatwa. I see where they're going. I kind of like the direction they're taking the season and the more episodic nature of it, but I'm overall not enjoying the overly heavy-handed metaphors. I think they're doing what sci-fi does best, which is to do analogies and allegories, but it is beating me over the head with some of them, and I'm not having a great time along the ride. Also, it would be nice if the Doctor actually appeared in one or two of these episodes every now and again. But no spoilers. Next one. Commander Smith, who I don't think could stay for the whole show, said, speaking of which, just because I may not be able to stay the whole time, I will say that Odo's joke at the end, O'Brien and Bashir would die almost immediately if they didn't return to the exact same size because the oxygen molecules wouldn't fit in their hemoglobin properly. They even talked about this in the episode. So the scene is that we know Bashir and O'Brien are smarter than this. It's funny, but the funny is still sinful. Yeah, they should know that if they weren't returned to the right size, there's a good job they died.
But you know what? We're just going to do it anyway. We're just going to jump in this.
Yeah, of course.
Excretion disc thing.
Nick is bummed that we're not doing another DS9 because he's enjoying the rewatch, but happy we're doing TOS. There's so much Star Trek.
So much
Star Trek. We could dedicate our lives to doing this completely.
Those tiny little swinging doors are all that protects the feet of the people in engineering in the warp core from bursts of superheated plasma from the impulse engines.
Right? It's kind of weird. I thought that was a weird one too.
You know what it looked like? It looked like those people who have the vacuum cleaner systems that are built into their walls.
Oh, yeah, that's horrible. Yeah, you lose a fucking hamster in there. Yeah. Not that you should let hamsters
you
run
have
around.
personal
No,
experience
never mind.
of that
Moving on.
happening?
Moving on. I have had to rip a wall apart to rescue a hamster. 100%.
From one of those little wall sucker
No,
things?
they crawled into a cavity, and then we heard like some rustling, so we punched a hole in the wall, and this little hamster just crawled out of the wall and into my mum's hand, just like, thank you for rescuing me. Lost 70% of its fur through stress. And like lived another 6 months and died. Like it didn't really fully recover from that ordeal.
Oh no!
But it didn't die in the wall. My mum was like, "I know the hamster's in the wall. I cannot let it die in there. I cannot have a hamster dead in that wall for the rest of the time that we live in this house."
No, that reminds me of a story of a very traumatic story, but a true story of raccoons in my fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's harsh. My hamster.
Your hamster's harsh?
No, sorry. It was my hamster that got stuck. Yeah, Hoovers just aren't all that fun. They do. Sin Flyboy says this is a fun episode, but it's still a fantastic Voyage ripoff, and they don't even get around to it by saying they never enter a body. The Defiant is the body they've entered. It's very true. Very, very true. This is a great sin from Sci-Fi Brony. Why is the Defiant of all ships doing the scientific survey, especially during the Dominion War? It's a warship, people. Don't send the Defiant to do this shit. They're the only ones in the sector.
I didn't hear in the beginning why they said that they had to do it.
No, just because. Also, it's because
they're close proximity, maybe.
Well, it's because they were closer, and also they think that this could lead to some quantum tunneling technology, which would mean they can basically spore drive places. But they never mention it again.
Ever?
Never again. So the idea is that like this could help in the war effort by making their ships faster, but they never mention it again.
There you go. I don't think that there was a changeling on the Deep Space Nine ship. The changeling was on the station.
Oh, Link had a question earlier about Odo. So why is there a changeling on the ship? And Odo is a changeling. He's been there from the beginning. He thought he was the only one of his kind because he was found in the Gamma Quadrant. And it's only like a few seasons later that they find a race of changelings. And he's like, oh, I am one of many. That's interesting. It's a shame they're evil bastards. But yeah, that's why he's on Deep Space Nine.
And that's when he finds his bucket.
That is when he has his bucket from the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Okay. He just comes with a bucket.
Yeah.
Like the kids that are dropped off at the orphanage with their little basket.
Exactly. It's like, here's Odo in a bucket. It wasn't actually. They made a bucket for him. That's why it looks Bajoran. Because a Bajoran scientist found him.
It's a Bajorket.
It's a Bajocket? Bajocket? Chuck it in the Bajocket bucket? Yeah. Ian, you said you had the runabout from this episode. Do you have the Rubicon specifically or just a runabout? I think it is the Rubicon. I genuinely do. It's the Rubicon or the Orinoco. I can't remember. I'm fairly certain it's the Rubicon, but it's not the miniaturized version.
What would a hatch that size be even good for?
Right?
That hatch seems way too thin for keeping plasma flowing into the room. It's the vacuum system also, we're learning.
Yeah, that's what it is.
If that hatch stands between the engineering and the impulse engines, why isn't it a very loud alarm whenever it goes off? That's another great...
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Great point. Should be locked down.
Mm-hmm. More questions. I have so many questions about being tiny. Does warp travel work the same? Does matter-antimatter reactions work differently when it's miniaturized?
It's fair. Yeah. Does the speed of light not get you as far as before? I was trying to think about this because, like, imagine you're a paperclip and you're on the Enterprise.
I want to be a paperclip so bad. I'm glad we're doing this.
Right. You're still traveling at warp. I just wonder if the size of the warp core, because you'd be a little ship, but still traveling at warp, still traveling really fast.
So the distance between like your seat in the bathroom is like 10 paces when you're your size, but it's like 15 light years when you're teeny tiny.
But if I'm teeny tiny and I'm traveling at 100 miles an hour, I'll get there at the same time as me traveling 100 miles an hour, right? Because like Voyager is smaller than the Enterprise, but if they're both traveling at warp 9.9, they're both going to be traveling parallel to each other, even though Voyager is smaller.
Right.
But I don't know how that works when you get down to the inch scale. But I think if you're 4 inches and you're both traveling at warp 9, does that matter? You should still be parallel to each other. I think it would only matter when you get to the subatomic level, when you're talking about atoms and stuff.
Oh, I see.
Somebody smarter than me should explain this to me.
Where?
I know somebody that works at NASA that listens to the show. Please tell us how this works.
Oh, get your feet out. Out.
Yeah, but I know relativity, but I don't. I think that only kicks in when you start getting really, really tiny or really, really heavy, I think. Yeah, speed is constant regardless of size. That's what, until you're getting really tiny. That's what I'm getting.
Showed tonight the Ferengi episode of Enterprise. Fun episode, but full of this works because the enemies are dumb.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Well, there's a few Ferengi episodes of Enterprise. Oh, you mean Star Trek Enterprise, right? Not TNG. Yeah, that's a fun one. That's a fun one.
I was like, well, yeah, we're talking about Star Trek here, buddy.
Well, because there's a show called Enterprise. And it's fucking dumb.
I got it.
Well, the show isn't dumb, but calling it Enterprise was dumb. Not really. Whatever.
Yes, I have seen Fantastic Voyage.
I have not, actually.
Oh, have you seen Inner Space?
No, I haven't. Is that the cartoon?
That's the one. Wait, no, you told me about
this. Yeah. That's it.
Go.
What else have we got?
Fantastic Voyage. Slide. Space-time.
This is really fun. David said Odo, Quark, and Morn had to go through 4+ hours of makeup for that one scene.
They sure did.
It's so true. I hope they tacked it onto another day of filming.
They
must have done.
They had to.
Because there's no way you're just filling all of the extras that are on the promenade as well. Like, there's no way you're filling that up for one scene. They filmed that with something else.
If you're smaller, you need to fold less space, presumably. Can we talk about how to fold space?
Yeah, I don't think warp drives are folding space, though.
It's so
I think
that
they're
you
warping
can fit
space
it into your envelope cargo pocket. That's
fair.
why you do
That's
it.
what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
I did like seeing Quark.
Every episode should have
Quark
a Quark.
is such a great character.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they were moving, right? Because they were on a ship. No, they were still. Or were they at Impulse?
Who was still?
They were still, yeah.
Who?
Still.
The Defiant?
Yeah. They were dead in the water, right?
No, but they moved because the Impulse drive came on.
Okay.
But they just weren't at warp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone. Love doing a live show with you guys. That was a lot of fun.
We will be back. We do have some scheduling changes that are going to be coming up. We'll tell you more about that as we near the dates approaching, but we are going to be taking a little bit of a recording hiatus.
Just a few weeks.
But
we're not talking months.
Not for long. That is going to be coming up. I think we can share that we're not going to be on air.
Yeah, I think we worked out it's going to be
all
from
of July.
Yeah, it's going to be July. For your podcast feed, it will be July 12th, 19th, and 26th, I believe.
We have
might put something else in the feed.
Yeah, we have some episodes that we're going to be releasing, but we're not doing a live show for the entire month of July. So
yeah, correct.
The podcast feed will have a little bit coming in, but we're not going to be doing a live show for a month. And so we are going to be coming back to do the live show starting in August. So hang out with us for the month of June, and then we'll take a little bit of a hiatus there and come back in August with some fun new shows.
Yeah. Interesting. We're not going to be doing Prodigy because it falls into July. We also haven't seen season 1, so we're not going to be.
Matter. We've established
we know that we. But this really does matter because it literally ends on a cliffhanger. Like it would be I think it would be cruel to the show to not do season 1 as well. But not going to be no immediate plans to do Prodigy, but we do have plans to
Don't tell Pat. Don't tell the plans.
Won't do that.
They can change.
Yeah, totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there will be a hiatus in July. Yeah.
We're going to be doing...
We'll probably put something in the feed. We may put like an old episode in the feed or like a Recotopia or Bond or we'll have something in your podcast feed, I think. No? Because that's pretty easy to do, right? No? Maybe your feed will just be dark. We'll figure it out. I'll cut this out of the outtakes.
We are going to go now.
Yeah.
We have food to eat and
we
to get back to for our jobs, unfortunately. I really do wish that we could hang out with you guys all day. But alas, we're not ready for that yet. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next Friday for another live recording of Captain's Pod. And until then, live long and prosper. We love you.